Did you know that the way you sleep tonight could decide whether you wake up refreshed or not wake up at all? I know that sounds dramatic, but stay with me. Every night, millions of people lie down in bed thinking they're giving their brain a break. But what if instead of healing, your brain is slowly starving just because of how your head hits the pillow? Let me ask you something. Have you ever woken up with a strange numbness in your arm, a pounding headache, or a wave of dizziness you couldn't explain? Maybe you chalked it up to age or a bad dream. But what if your sleeping position was quietly putting pressure on your arteries, blocking blood flow to your brain, and silently increasing your risk of stroke? I'm not trying to scare you, but as someone who has spent years studying the brain, I've seen far too many patients suffer, not because of what they did during the day, but how they slept at night. In this video, we're going to explore the most dangerous sleeping positions, habits you might have had for decades without knowing they could be hurting you. But we're not stopping there. You'll also learn how small changes in the way you sleep can protect your brain, your heart, and your future. So, if you or someone you love is over 60, this video might just be the wake-up call that changes everything. Drop a 1 in the comments if you sleep on your side, or a 0 if you sleep on your back or stomach. And don't forget to subscribe to Health 365. We're here to keep your brain sharp and your body strong. Now, let's talk about the first sleeping habit that might be doing more harm than good. Let's start senior health tips with a sleeping habit that seems harmless, but could be silently dangerous. Lying on one side all night without switching. It might feel cozy, especially if you found your side after years of habit. But here's what many people don't realize. When you stay on one side for too long, you can actually compress the carotid artery on that side of your neck. That artery is a major highway for blood going to your brain. When it's squished for hours, the brain on that side might not get the oxygen it needs. I once had a patient, a 6-7-year-old man, who always slept on his side. He'd wake up almost every morning with tingling in his arm and half of his face feeling numb. He thought it was just poor circulation. But when we scanned his neck, we found plaque buildup in that carotid artery, just enough that when he slept on it all night, blood flow dropped significantly. He was at serious risk for a stroke, all because of a position he thought was safe. Even if you don't have artery blockages, lying on one side too long can still affect your nerves and circulation. You might notice that your arm falls asleep more easily or that your hip aches more on one side. Those are warning signs. So, what can you do? Try alternating sides through the night or place a supportive pillow behind your back so you're less likely to stay stuck on one side. If you sleep with a partner, let them know to give you a gentle nudge if you've been in one position too long. Now, let's move to another common habit. One that's as simple as your pillow height, but could be making you dizzy by morning. You might love that fluffy high pillow that cradles your head just right. But if it's too high, it could be bending your neck in a way that restricts blood flow to your brain. Specifically, it can compress the vertebral arteries that run through your spine and feed your brainstem. Imagine this. Your head is tilted forward for 7 or 8 hours straight, like you've been staring down at your phone all night. That's what sleeping with a high pillow does to your neck. The result? You might wake up feeling dizzy, lightheaded, or like your brain is in a fog. One of my patients, a 72-year-old woman who loved her thick memory foam pillow, kept waking up with spinning sensations. She thought it was vertigo. But when we adjusted her pillow to a lower and more neutral height, just enough to keep her head aligned with her spine, those dizzy mornings nearly disappeared. And it's even riskier if you have narrowing in your neck arteries or cervical spine issues, which become more common with age. That extra tilt from the pillow puts stress on already sensitive structures. It's like kinking a garden hose. Water still flows, but barely. What can you do? Aim for a pillow that supports your neck's natural curve without pushing your chin toward your chest. A good rule of thumb is to lie on your back and check whether your nose is in line with your sternum. If your chin is dropping too low, your pillow's probably too high. All right, now that we've handled pillow height, let's move into a sleeping position. Many people don't even realize could limit how much oxygen gets to your brain while you sleep. You're curled up in a tight little ball, knees tucked to your chest, head bent forward. It feels safe, maybe even comforting. That's the fetal position. And while it might remind you of being snug in the womb, it can actually limit how well your body and especially your brain gets blood and oxygen during sleep. When you fold yourself up like that, you're squeezing your chest cavity and reducing the space your lungs have to expand. That means less oxygen getting into your bloodstream and ultimately less reaching your brain. And if your pillow is also too high, bending your neck forward even more, it's a double hit to circulation. A woman I worked with, 69 years old, always slept tightly curled on her side. Every morning she'd wake up with numb fingers and dizzy spells. We tried everything, diet, hydration, but nothing worked until she changed her sleep position. She started sleeping with a flatter pillow and placed a small cushion between her knees to help her stay slightly straighter. Within a week, the numbness stopped. Sleeping curled up may also restrict your nerves, leading to that pins and needles feeling in your hands or feet. If you've ever woken up feeling like your arm doesn't belong to you, this could be why. To help, try lying on your side with a gentle bend in your knees instead of curling into a tight ball. Support your back with a pillow and keep your head aligned with your spine. It doesn't have to feel like military posture. Just open enough so your lungs and blood vessels can do their jobs. Next, let us talk about a surprising mistake that many people make even when they sleep on their back and how it can silently trigger headaches and sleep disruptions. Sleeping on your back is often praised as the healthiest position, and in many ways it is. But there's a big catch. If your neck isn't properly supported, this good position can turn into a bad one quickly. When your pillow doesn't cradle the natural curve of your neck, your head may tilt backward or slide sideways, putting subtle but continuous stress on the blood vessels at the base of your skull. These tiny vessels are incredibly important. They help regulate blood flow to the parts of your brain that manage balance, sleep, and coordination. If they're strained or compressed during the night, it can lead to headaches, dizziness, or even sleep disturbances. I've had patients who thought they had insomnia. Turns out it was just poor neck support causing micro-awakenings all night long. One man in his early 70s had a habit of sleeping on his back without any real neck support. His pillow was flat and his head drooped backward. He'd wake up exhausted with a tight feeling at the base of his skull. We switched his pillow to one designed for cervical support, just enough to keep his head and neck aligned. Within days, his headaches began to ease and his sleep improved dramatically. If you're a back sleeper, take a moment to feel how your head rests on your pillow. Look for a contoured pillow that fits the curve of your neck, keeping your head in line with your spine. This simple shift can make all the difference, especially if you had issues with blood flow or minor strokes in the past. Now let's explore a position that's especially risky, not just for your brain, but for your heart and lungs too. A sleeping position that many people turn to for comfort, especially when dealing with back pain, but it's actually one of the worst for your brain. Sleeping on your stomach. It might feel like you're relieving pressure on your back, but the cost is high, especially for your neck, heart, and lungs. When you sleep on your stomach, your head has to twist to one side, and it stays that way for hours. This constant twisting can compress the carotid artery, the main blood vessel that carries oxygen-rich blood to your brain. I had a patient in his mid-60s who always slept on his stomach, thinking it helped with his snoring. Over time, he started experiencing early morning chest tightness and brain fog. After a detailed checkup, we discovered that his stomach sleeping habit was straining both his neck and his breathing. His blood pressure was high and oxygen flow to the brain was lower than it should have been during sleep. This position also puts pressure on your chest, making it harder for your lungs to fully expand. Less oxygen in your bloodstream means less oxygen reaches your brain. If you already have high blood pressure or hardened arteries, this lack of oxygen can be especially dangerous, raising your stroke risk significantly. If you absolutely must sleep on your stomach, try placing a thin pillow under your hips and using no pillow or a very flat one under your head. Better yet, train yourself to sleep on your side or back. It might take time, but your brain and heart will thank you. Next, let's uncover a strange habit that might seem harmless, even cozy, but could be turning your bed into a silent trap for your brain overnight. Here's a habit that feels cozy on a cold night, but could be silently putting your brain at risk. Sleeping with your head completely under the blanket. It sounds harmless, even comforting. But when you pull the covers over your head, you're trapping exhaled carbon dioxide and limiting fresh oxygen intake that creates a mini greenhouse of stale air. Exactly the kind of environment your brain doesn't want while it's trying to rest and repair. I once spoke with a 70-year-old man who liked to hide under his blanket during winter. He said it helped him fall asleep faster, but every morning he woke up groggy and sluggish. When we measured oxygen levels in his bedroom and under the blanket, it was clear the CO2 levels were significantly higher beneath the covers. His brain was working harder to function on less oxygen. Low oxygen or hypoxia thickens your blood and increases the chance of forming clots, especially during sleep. When circulation naturally slows, this raises your risk of nighttime strokes. Plus, high carbon dioxide levels can disturb sleep quality and cause morning headaches or confusion. To stay safe and warm, use a layered blanket system and keep your nose and mouth exposed to fresh air. If your room is cold, consider a heated mattress pad or a breathable wool blanket instead of burying your face. Your brain needs oxygen more than warmth. Now, let's take a closer look at a habit that might seem harmless. Falling asleep in your favorite recliner, but could quietly threaten circulation, especially in older adults. Something that feels relaxing, even luxurious, falling asleep in a recliner chair. Maybe you've dozed off during a late-night movie or taken your afternoon nap in that favorite seat. But sleeping in a semi-sitting position night after night can quietly increase your risk of dangerous blood clots, especially if you're over 60. Here's why. When your legs are lower than your heart for hours, gravity pulls blood downward, slowing circulation in your lower limbs. This makes it easier for blood to pull and clot, especially in deep veins, a condition called deep vein thrombosis or DVT. If one of those clots travels to your lungs or brain, it can be life-threatening. I remember a patient, 74 years old, who slept in his recliner every night because of back pain. He felt more comfortable upright, but after a few months, he developed swelling in his left leg and shortness of breath. A scan revealed a clot had formed in his calf and moved to his lungs. He had no idea the recliner was the culprit. Even if you feel fine, this position also reduces blood flow back to the heart and brain. That means less oxygen delivery and a higher stroke risk over time. It's especially risky if you sit still for long periods and don't move your legs. If you need to nap in a recliner, try to limit it to short periods. Use a footrest to elevate your legs and flex your ankles every 30 minutes. But for overnight sleep, the best place is still your bed, flat, supportive, and made for recovery. Next, let's talk about a side that seems harmless, but may quietly increase brain toxin buildup while you sleep. Now, here's something surprising. Not all side sleeping is created equal. While sleeping on your left side may have some benefits, consistently sleeping on your right side might do more harm than you think. It turns out your body's internal structure isn't exactly symmetrical, and the way you sleep can impact how well blood and fluids circulate, especially in your brain. When you lie on your right side for long periods, it can increase pressure on the inferior vena cava, the large vein that returns blood to your heart. That pressure can slightly reduce overall circulation, including the blood flowing up to your brain. But it gets more concerning when you consider what happens inside your head. Studies have shown that right-side sleeping may reduce the efficiency of the brain's lymphatic system, a crucial system that clears out waste and toxins during sleep. One study from Stony Brook University found that rodents who slept on their right side had slower clearance of harmful proteins linked to neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. I had a patient 68 years old who always slept on her right side. Over time, she noticed increased brain fog and memory slips. After discussing this with her neurologist, she gradually shifted to sleeping on her left side with a body pillow. Her mental clarity improved in just a few weeks. If you're a dedicated right-side sleeper, try alternating sides or use pillows to encourage a more balanced position. Supporting your top leg and shoulder can help make the left side feel just as comfortable. Now, let's look at another hidden danger: cold air and poor neck support that could quietly shrink your brain's oxygen supply overnight. Have you ever fallen asleep in a chilly room without thinking twice about it? Many folks prefer sleeping in cooler temperatures. It's true that a slightly cool environment can promote better rest. But when your neck isn't properly supported and the room is too cold, you might be setting yourself up for a night of poor circulation and even higher stroke risk. Here's the science behind it. Cold temperatures cause your blood vessels to constrict, a natural response to preserve body heat. But when this vasoconstriction happens around your neck and head, it can limit how much oxygen-rich blood reaches your brain. If your neck is also unsupported, those vessels might be slightly kinketted or stretched in ways that make things worse. I once had a patient, a 66-year-old woman, who loved sleeping near an open window, even in winter. She'd often wake up with a stiff neck and throbbing headaches. After adjusting her sleeping setup, adding neck support, and warming the room slightly, her symptoms reduced significantly. The key here is balance. A room that's too cold, combined with poor posture, can become a silent threat overnight. Your muscles tense up, circulation slows, and your brain doesn't get the oxygen it needs to stay healthy. So what can you do? Keep your bedroom around 65°F, but use a light scarf or soft neck wrap if you tend to get chilly. Most importantly, use a pillow that supports your cervical spine. You want your neck to feel gently cradled, not strained. Sleep isn't just NextGenHealth rest. It's when your brain does its most important work: recovery, repair, and renewal. But here's something many people overlook. The way you sleep can either support that healing process or quietly interfere with it. The position of your head, the angle of your neck, even the side you sleep on, they all matter more than you think. The best part, you're in control. With just a few small adjustments, like choosing a better pillow, switching sides, or avoiding poor habits before bed, you can protect your brain while you sleep. So tonight, take a moment before drifting off. Ask yourself, is my neck supported? Am I breathing freely? Is my spine aligned? These small, quiet checks may be your best line of defense against stroke, memory fog, or waking up feeling off. If even one idea here helped you, drop a 1 in the comments to let us know. And don't forget to subscribe to NextGenHealth for more brain-smart sleep tips that help you live stronger, age better, and protect your most vital organ, your brain. Sleep well, friend. You truly deserve